following is a GNC podcast production. Welcome to Geek Addicts, a pop culture podcast.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast, where we talk about, lots of stuff, pretty much nerdy stuff in general. Doesn't really matter. My name is Matt. With me is the number one knuckleheaded podcaster, Bill Barber. How you doing, Bill?
I'm tired. I'm very tired.
Yeah, I feel that.
I say this every time we podcast.
Well, I mean, we do it on Friday nights, so it's kind of one of those assumed things. We're not. We're both still technically in our 20s, but we're also at that point in our lives where that kind of doesn't mean much.
We're in the final countdown. Like that's going to be ending very soon, and I don't like it.
For me, especially, I'm only like 2 months away from 30.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit less.
I don't like it.
No, I'm not a fan. But just one step closer to retirement, which is what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Every time we say that, the goalpost just gets farther and farther away.
True. This is true. But I'm also really looking forward to being like, a grandpa that watches anime.
True.
And plays like video games and shit. Like our generation is going to be like the funnest grandparents.
True. Very true.
Come over here and watch Dragon Ball with me.
Here's this thing. It's called the 3DO.
Yeah, right.
If they still work by then. Because God, yeah, I don't know about that.
Back in my day, we played the PlayStation 2.
Well, it's funny. I was going to make a joke about cartridges, but we've kind of reverted back to cartridges again. So,
yeah, kind of. Well, it's kind of funny how like Nintendo pretty much was stubborn about staying on cartridges for a long time, and then we had the mini discs for the GameCube, and then we had regular discs for the Wii, and I think the Wii U, and then they just went back to cartridges.
So the GameCube had mini DVDs. The Wii had not DVDs because they weren't technically DVDs, but they were basically DVDs. And then the Wii U had not Blu-rays.
Which is why you couldn't play movies on either of those.
So you can actually mod a Wii to play DVDs. It's kind of fun.
Well, I'm sure you can mod it to do that, but
because there is a DVD drive in there, just can't use it because Nintendo's annoying.
Classic Nintendo.
The N64 was crippled from the start because it wasn't a disc-based system.
You hear they're already going to be like later this year, supposedly going to be releasing the Switch 2.
They say that, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly it's going to be in time for the Christmas season. I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I got plenty on the regular ass Switch to keep me busy for years and years. Like, I don't need another one. Like, upgraded graphics would be nice and all, but like, that's not my priority.
Unfortunately, you're in the minority on that opinion. Believe it or not, a lot of people really want the Switch 2.
Yeah, well, I just bought a PS5. I'm not trying to buy another console. Because if I buy a Switch 2, I'm going to have to buy a Switch 2 for myself and my stepson, which I'm not doing.
See, you're thinking of this logically. Most gamers don't think with logic.
Yeah, well.
They just think of, I have to own.
I'm happy with my PS5 for now. I got my multitude of handhelds. I got my DS, my 3DS, my Switch, my Vita. And I got a multitude of consoles as well. I got my Xbox One, I got my PS5, I have some older systems. Xander's got the GameCube in his room. He's got the N64. Like I'm set. I got plenty of consoles to choose from.
That's true.
But
going to my room. think we mentioned it like a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to my high school reunion this weekend.
Oh, really? Was that
Yeah.
tomorrow or?
Well, at the time of this, when this episode comes out, it'll already have passed. But yeah, it's gonna be a tomorrow for a bit.
There you go.
See how it
This is
goes.
what, like the 10 year?
We're celebrating 10 years. We're technically at almost 12 years because of COVID, but
That's fair. Oh God, I don't even
yeah,
think my I don't even think my class did a reunion, and we're past. I think this year is 12 years. Actually, like right now is 12 years. Come to
yeah.
think of it.
Like, to be honest, it's like it's one of those things where they like the schools don't unlike contrary to popular belief, the schools don't set these things up for the classes. The classes have to set them up themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit before, but like I I just like later down the line, yeah, I understand reunions, but like 5 years, 10 years for me personally, in the age of social media, it just doesn't seem like necessary.
it's different nowadays. I will say 5 years I don't get. 10 years I understand. Like a decade is enough time passed where I feel like meeting up with people you haven't seen in that long actually means something.
True. Um, well, I say I don't even know if my class did one. I don't think I would get an invite anyway because I'm not in the yearbook.
Oh, um,
Apparently, if you don't submit, if you don't like do like a specific sign up for a specific like photo for it, like they don't just use the school photo for it. You have to go and get a separate photo taken outside of school. And
well,
if you
yeah, I had
don't
to
do
do
that,
that.
you're not in the yearbook. I didn't realize that until it was too late. And at that point, I just said, fuck it. Who cares? Because I
So
don't care about most of these motherfuckers anyway.
ironically, my yearbook's chilling over there. Um, ironically, like for us, like we had to do the same thing. You had to go and get professional photos taken. Um,
Hmm.
and I found out specifically that you were only supposed to pick like a specific headshot to be in the book, but we completely ignored that and picked like this fancy shot. So my picture is like way fancier than everyone else's. Um, oops. But yes, but apparently, like if you didn't get a photo taken, you were still listed under like not pictured, so you're still technically in there.
No, I'm not. I have a copy of my yearbook. I'm not listed at all.
Oh, they didn't do like
They're
they
not
didn't
even my
do.
name. Nope.
Did they do like not pictureds?
I guess not, because I'm not
Oh,
there. Well, there's a couple like I'm technically there's a couple of pictures of me, but like they're not. It's not in like the list of students. It's like the big like well, Spirit Week over here, and these are the CTE kids. Like there's a couple of me. Like there's a couple of pictures of me in like the automotive section, and there's one of me in like one of the big like collages, but it's like literally like the tiniest itty bitty picture sandwiched in there of me dressed up as Goku for Superhero Day.
we never did. We didn't have superhero day. We had the boring ones like Twin Day, which fuck that.
The fuck is Twin Day?
You dress up like someone else. Basically, two people dress up the same and pretend to be twins.
That's
Yeah, I know.
that's really dumb.
We had, I think we had Hat Day, like the dumbest ones, like that everyone does.
One of my
Yeah, we didn't.
favorites though was I think it was a superhero day, and there was this kid that I used to hang out with, Tyler, and he dressed up like Russell Crowe from South Park. He literally carried a house plant around with him the whole day.
Yeah, that's
It was
good.
pretty great. That kid was a riot.
My favorite was like Decades Day, where everyone dressed up as a different decade, and I dressed up as a 1900s prospector.
You know what's really sad
What?
is that kids now have those kinds of Spirit Week like theme days about our generation.
I'm aware.
Like I saw
Yeah,
this thing today that really depressed me, and it said that we are now as close to 2050 as we are to 1990.
Yes.
I don't like that. I'm not a fan.
We're getting to a point now where like, well, I mean, like if you want to feel really old, like Linkin Park's first two albums are both 20 years old now.
Yikes.
Yeah. Have you
Jeez.
you want to feel really old? Listen to the classic rock station. You're going to be shocked what some of the bands that play on that station are now.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, I hear songs from like the late 2000s on like throwback days and shit. I'm like, that's not that old. Like, we're not old, I swear.
I mean, we're getting it's almost to the point where 2015 was 10 years ago. That just doesn't feel
Yeah.
right.
Yikes.
Yeah, so we're old. And we do podcast. That's the new thing now, is all the millennials do podcasts now.
Yeah. Because what else are we gonna do?
That's
We're
the
all
thing.
antisocial.
Well, no, we're not
You know, like,
antisocial. We just don't like seeing people in reality.
true. That's why well, I mean, yeah, COVID, but like no contact delivery is a thing, you know.
Well, I mean,
Leave it on my doorstep is a thing.
no contact delivery was something that should have existed before COVID.
Yeah, well, it's never gonna go away now.
It's one of the best things that came out of that like period of time.
True. But yeah, I don't know. Time is weird.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Speaking of things that are old, see what I did there. We're talking about Naruto this episode.
Surprisingly older than I thought.
Well, the manga is pretty old. I mean,
It's about
99.
99, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's older than actually, I think Inuyasha came out the same year.
Really? I thought Inuyasha was older for some reason.
Nah, but Inuyasha is not as old as people would well, actually, I might be completely wrong. Give me a second here. Oh no, I'm thinking of the anime came out in 99. Well, 2000, so right around there. It was
Okay.
96. It was 96, which not that much older.
Hmm. So yeah, Naruto. Um, so I guess I'll kick it off. What's your first experience in Naruto? When did you first like started getting into it?
So it's kind of sad. Naruto was I remember my first experience with Naruto was Toonami would show ads for it like 24/7 back in the day, like on Cartoon Network.
Mhm.
Um,
They used to do
like
marathons a lot.
oh yeah. Um, and it was one of those shows where I'd see it, and I'm not gonna lie, the first time I saw it, I thought the main character was annoying as fuck.
Oh, he super is. I actually have been watching. I've been starting it with Cindy. We're on the tuning exam right now, and God, the early episodes are so hard to get through now.
Yeah. Like, so keep in mind, at this point, my anime experience was Sailor Moon, Ronin Warriors, Dragon Ball, and Inuyasha.
Mhm.
Um, all of which have generally not annoying protagonists, depending on your thoughts on Sailor Moon or Kagome. Uh, but in my opinion, generally not annoying protagonists. So when I see that the new hot anime is Naruto and everyone won't shut up about it, and I watch one episode, and I'm like, I don't know about this one. This guy really annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't the easiest for me to get into, I won't lie. And I kind of casually observed it for most of its run. Because, so I'm thinking about it, like, in terms of release, so let's do a little research here, real quick. The anime debuted in 2002. So that's actually newer than I thought.
Yeah. I think I could be mistaken, but I think Naruto was the
Oh,
first anime to experiment with CGI,
so
like in a significant way.
this is even more crazy. The US English dub didn't air until 2005.
That tracks because
That's
I didn't get into it until they were already on the Chunin exam, and I remember specifically being really into it because, well, first of all, because just like the whole concept of the power system and stuff, I thought was really cool, but also because I was the same age as the kids,
yes.
so
Yeah,
that
so
that kind of had its own appeal to me.
this is why I was confused because Inuyasha, I'm just going by what I watched at the time. Inuyasha's first episode aired in the US in 2002, so right around when Naruto was starting in Japan.
Okay.
Okay, so that explains why like Naruto. I think Naruto came out around the point where I was kind of losing interest in anime.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like other than like the couple that I was into, like I wasn't like that was like kind of where the end of my first expansion period ended.
Hmm.
Where I kind of Inuyasha was about as far as I was going to branch out at that
I get
point.
that.
Um, so yeah, Naruto was a thing I remember because like you legit couldn't watch Cartoon Network without seeing it 24/7,
Yeah, it was really
and
pushed.
it really was. And I still remember all the ads with Tom like fucking like hyping it up
Hmm.
on Tsunami,
Good
and
old Tom.
I always say like I like the animation. Like to this day, it still is a great looking show, and I do like the character designs for the most part. I mean, Naruto's outfit is still stupid. Like I'll always be on the side of part of that. Um,
His
compared to
later
where
outfit isn't that bad, like the Shippuden outfit.
the Shippuden, and I particularly like the last and the blank period, his blank period design, which we won't be getting to. We should preface this episode. We're specifically talking about original Naruto, so the everything before Shippuden.
Yes. Although I will say before we move completely away from Shippuden, his the outfit he had in the pain arc is his top tier outfit in my opinion.
That one's good. That one is really good. I mean, I like his current design in Boruto too, which is essentially just a reverse of his blank period design.
Hmm. I don't like his new haircut though.
I'm okay with it, but
Although I guess I like him more than Gara's, but we'll get into that later.
Gara's is just
Gara's
he
just
got
looks stupid.
Gara just like got his haircut by like every like child's first haircut, basically.
It looks like the kid that that you give niggas to on the friggin' on the playground.
It's like he cut it short and then just slicked it over. But yeah.
Um, so yeah, for me, yeah, it had to have been around like 2006 or so that I started getting it because I remember specifically, uh, I started watching when they were on the Forest of Death. That was with the point where the dub was at when I got into it. Luckily for me, that was still the time period where they were doing Naruto marathons like at prime time Cartoon Network all the time. So I managed to, it was easy enough for me to catch up on all the earlier episodes.
You know, to me, what was like I think what hurt me getting into Naruto at the time the hardest.
Was that?
The episodes I happened to see were ones that were really focused on Team 7.
Hmm.
And I found Naruto really annoying initially. Sasuke was just edgelord to the max at the time. And Sakura, say no more, was
Yeah,
even somehow more annoying than Naruto was at the time. But
for sure.
Kakashi was cool. Like, I'd pay attention to Kakashi because I was like the only character that didn't annoy the fuck out of me at the time.
For sure.
I will
Um,
say years later I would discover there was other characters besides those three, and they were all much more interesting.
yeah, Naruto. That's one thing about Naruto is it has such a huge cast of characters, and like you don't meet a lot of like you kind of meet like their peers at the beginning of the show, and then it quickly pushes them to the side because it wants to really put some focus on Team Seven and introducing them and establishing them, giving them a little bit of development to start out before they start really mixing with other teams. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and they're all very distinct too. Like you like an important character versus just a regular ninja. Like the regular ninjas are the ones that actually look like ninjas.
Yeah, those two
If
guys.
they
You know who I'm
yeah, if
talking
they
about.
Yeah, those two. They're
Those
always
two
at the
guys.
gate.
You type it into Google, and you will find the two people you are thinking of right away.
Yeah, the guy with the face tape, and yeah.
Well, to me, like every ninja that's not important is just those two guys. And like no matter what you're thinking, like you can type in those two guys from Naruto and you will find who you're thinking of. It doesn't have to be the gate guards, it can be like anybody. You will find them. It is the funniest thing ever.
Well, so yeah, just starting out, so what was the first episode that like really caught you with Naruto?
The first one that I really remember was actually, believe it or not, it was Sasuke getting the curse mark.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure the first episode I saw was the episode where that curse mark like first activates and he breaks that dude's arms.
See, I remember that one. I remember specifically with I'm brain farting his name. The
Orochimaru?
villain. Oh yeah, the Orochimaru. I always remember the scene of him actually like his head going all snake and him actually giving Sasuke the mark. That like vividly sticks in my head.
It's funny enough, is I think we left off. My wife and I, the last time we watched, we left off like right before that. I think it was like right after Naruto burst out of the snake and showed up and saved Sasuke. But before the fight like really starts. Um, one thing I'll say is I love a lot of the choreography in Naruto. It's like there are very specific episodes that I could point to that are like the choreography and like the pacing of fights in certain episodes are vastly superior to others. One in particular that stands out in my mind is the episode with the three Sanin fight, like right after Naruto gets knocked out from fighting Kabuto, and when Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru start their fight, like full on, like that the animation of that and the choreography is perfect. Another one is I actually remember the title of this one, Naruto's Ninja Handbook, when he's fighting Gaara. That one's a really, really well animated, well choreographed fight. Just that whole episode is perfect.
The whole Chunin exam fights were all super awesome too. Like I still remember we had a bunch of great fights in that, like Naruto versus Kiba because he farts on him.
Yeah,
that was a moment. We also had Hinata versus Neji. That was an interesting one.
The fight that made everybody angry.
Well, yeah, because Neji was such a prick early on.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
it's funny too because like he didn't seem like that much of a prick until that fight. Like up until that point, like he definitely seemed like a Sasuke type, but like not to that extent. Like not like far and away beyond like the kind of asshole that Sasuke is.
I will say it's something that Kishimoto has brought up like a lot, especially nowadays, where he tried so hard to make Sakura a very likable and interesting character that he ended up hurting her more in the long run. Meanwhile, like everyone gravitated towards Hinata because I always say like Hinata's story was way more interesting, probably because she didn't appear all that much, but also like when she did appear, like there's some fucked up shit going on there.
Oh yeah, well like that's one of the things about like the inner machinations of the different clans and how they interact with each other, how like they're standing in the village. Like there's so much going on just there alone.
Well, yeah, because it's
obviously we don't learn it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like they portray the Uchiha clan as the evil ones, but I don't know that the Hyugas are pretty evil too when you really think about it.
I mean, they all kind of have their like their shitty sides, really, except for the Naras. The Naras are all great.
The Naras are great, and the Uzumakis, but they're all dead except for one.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
two technically. We don't see the other.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she appears until way later, but
no, the only other Uzumakis don't show up until Shippuden.
Yeah,
and they're both bad.
Debatably bad. Well, at
Well,
the time, I guess. But
that's the thing about Naruto is like all the villains are debatably bad.
also, like the whole theory behind Naruto, literally, like he wins every battle with the power of friendship.
Yeah, talk no jutsu.
People make that joke, but you watch the series, you're like, holy fuck, it's true.
Yeah. It's like how many that could be a drinking game on its own. Is how many times Naruto meets a villain and he goes, "Oh my god, he's just like me." Like every time. It's like, "Oh my
I
god,
have,
we had like the same childhood."
I know. Yeah, I will say, like, that's another thing. Like, you don't learn all of it in original Naruto, but like the more you learn about Naruto's backstory as the plot goes on, the more you realize, fuck, he's annoying, but you kind of get it now.
Yeah, there's kind of a reason why he is the way he is. And I guess you get the same about Sasuke, but like obviously Sasuke goes in a very different direction.
Well, the
Um,
difference is Naruto, like, both of them had well, it's funny because Naruto had an awful childhood. Sasuke had a decent childhood, and then like both of them had kind of events that just completely ruined their lives essentially, just at different
mhm.
time periods. And Naruto managed to come out of it better because of the people who were around him. Meanwhile, Sasuke had nobody around him and basically pushed away anybody that could have helped him, and that's why he becomes the way he is.
Mhm. Um, so obviously, so we start out, we meet our main characters. They gotta go through their little training and stuff. And then we jump into the bridge arc.
Hmm.
And I think this is, while I definitely think that first arc is rough at points, because at this point the animation is still pretty choppy. And it's something I've noticed going through it again with my wife recently. Um, a lot more than I used to, especially when you compare it to newer animes. The animation at the beginning is very iffy
early
at
early
times.
2000s. Like it's like when you go back and watch original Dragon Ball and like you watch and you go, it looks good, but oh, you can see that it's definitely an 80s anime.
For sure. But as it goes on, you start to get to some of the later parts of that arc, and it definitely improves a lot, especially with certain scenes. And then we meet our first set of debatably bad characters. Obviously, Zabuza is he's pretty bad, but he kind of gets not a redemption at the end, but um, sympathy, I guess, or empathy towards
That's
his story.
that's the one thing about Kishimoto is he is very great at making compelling characters. The problem is he also has a horrible tendency of killing off compelling characters.
Yeah, and that was one of those things when Haku died. It was just like such a gut punch, especially the way he dies.
Well, Haku is the I'm trying to remember. Is he the one where they make the joke about that he looks like a lady, or is that a different character?
Yeah, it's the one where Naruto's like, "Oh my god, he's prettier than Sakura."
Oh yeah, I remember because his first appearance, he's only like somewhat like androgynous looking, but then they reanimated that scene later in a flashback, and they made him way more feminine looking than he was originally. And I'm
Well, they
they
also had
did
him walk out into the woods in a pink kimono when he first like meets Naruto without the mask, and it's like they knew exactly what they were doing there. Like
true. The flashback of that scene though is like, oh my god, they just went all out on it.
for sure.
Like he's got the lipstick and eyeliner on, and it's like, oh my god.
Hmm.
Um,
Um, but
yeah,
that was a really interesting arc, and those are very good starter villains, I will say. Because they really affect like okay, you got Zabuza who's like the hard like he's the blood mist village rogue ninja, and then you have like the sympathetic uh tragic backstory Haku. And this is a formula that we're going to be going forward with throughout the entirety of Naruto.
I think like one of my just best ways of describing like this whole series is basically anytime something happens, I'm always like, that's deep, man.
Hmm. for sure. Yeah, Naruto's got a lot of really dark moments. Despite being such a lighthearted, like goofy show,
It
it
is a
gets real
violent
dark
show.
sometimes.
It is a violent anime too. A lot of people don't realize just how
Oh,
violent
extremely.
even Shippuden is.
And the manga
I mean,
is even more so.
not Shippuden. I meant the original series. Like even the original series was super violent for no reason.
Oh yeah. And the manga itself is so much more so. Yeah, a lot of those moments where you're like for instance, like well, when Naruto does his vow of pain, when he freezes up versus those first couple ninjas that attacked him on that arc. He stabbed himself in the hand. In the
Hmm.
manga, that kunai goes straight through. Like it comes out the other side.
Oh yeah,
And there's similar other things later on, like for instance, during the Chunin exam when Shino is fighting the guy with like the air gun things in his hands,
yep,
like the air pressure things. When he clogs up his little hand holes, and like the pressure needs to escape or whatever. In the anime, it just kind of kind of like it's like puncture wounds almost. Like the pressure built up and there's like punctures and that like he just got like holes in his arms. In the manga, his arms literally just blow the fuck off. Like his arms are gone.
yeah.
Even the way Shino has his bugs, like in the anime, it just shows like he has like 3 holes that they just kind of go in and out of, and it makes it seem like those are just permanent fixtures in his body. In the manga, they literally burst through his skin every time, like fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, Shino's jutsu is fucking just disturbing on so many levels.
Extremely,
It's one of the
extremely.
most interesting ones, but holy fuck, is it terrifying.
Yeah, certainly creative, but like I don't know, it's on some Junji Ito shit.
If that was the jutsu I got, I'd probably fucking kill myself because I would not want to deal with that.
No kidding. I'd rather be in the dog clan, thank you. Can they adopt me?
Yeah, yeah, I know. The jutsus are all really interesting. That's like one of my favorite parts about Naruto is how like every character is actually kind of got a unique gimmick that actually does something.
Yeah, and there's such a diverse amount of different kinds of techniques and jutsus and styles and um I mean even just like the main character's main power is making more of himself. And
Also,
that's such an interesting thing.
I love the irony too of like Naruto starts off like he can't clone himself for shit, but then like he later because Naruto is like the definition of overcoming your weaknesses. He ends
Mhm.
up becoming probably one of the strongest like people with cloning the shadow clone jutsu.
Yeah, he takes his weakest technique and turns it into a specialty. And that's really Naruto in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's actually refreshing rewatching, and you remember just how pathetic Naruto kind of was at the start,
Oh, for real. But at the
especially
same time,
because
oh god.
I was going to say, especially considering like I'm not going to say Sakura because Sakura is useless, but uh,
At least in the first show. I
oh,
agree.
in the first show that she's incredibly useless, um,
Unquestionable.
especially compared to Sasuke, who just has like pulls powers out of his ass. I swear, sometimes.
Well, it just sucks with Sakura because like they set her up like she had so much potential. Like she was like the best in the class. She had the best chakra control. She had all these things going for her.
But then they made her
And
annoying as fuck.
yeah, for real. Like nails on a chalkboard. Like get this bitch away from me.
Well, I
Like
mean, it's like the whole obsessed with Sasuke thing. That's whatever to me. Why was she such a bitch to Naruto? I get he's annoying, but like she took it like too far at times.
because she's spoiled, and that's one of the things that was like one of the biggest like early defining moments for Sasuke was when she's going on like literally making fun of him for having no parents. And you'd think with how obsessed she is with Sasuke, she would know that he has no parents. and that she might, choose her words a little bit more carefully in that scenario. Like, and Sasuke just like, no, you suck. Like, Naruto is way better than you. Like, for like right off the bat, that's like one of the first things Sasuke says in the whole series. You suck. Like, Naruto sucks too, but you suck worse. Like,
I also love the irony of the fact that like the only reason Naruto likes Sakura is because Sakura likes Sasuke, and he has to one up Sasuke on everything.
yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Like Naruto's weird obsession with Sakura just it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would you like her if she's such a? Ugh,
It's
sucks.
just it's you realize it more in hindsight. It's all because he's trying to one up Sasuke.
Yeah,
Once, because you notice like later on, like once that whole thing kind of stops being a thing, he stops being interested in her pretty fast.
yeah. Um, so yeah, we get through that whole arc without going into too much detail. And then it starts the tuning exam arc, which is like the first big sprawling arc, which is going to introduce a trend of bringing in lots of new characters.
Yes.
Because even just among like their immediate Leaf Village peers, um, like you meet a lot of them just in that arc alone.
Well, that was the big reveal too. That like, oh yeah, there's more villages than just the Leaf Village.
Mhm. So yeah, out of like the three other teams, like which one do you tend to gravitate to the most, and like what are your favorite characters out of them?
I mean,
Especially in the early episodes.
so out of all of them, Team 10 is by far the most interesting, but that's probably mostly just because of Shikamaru.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair. I mean, Shikamaru is like the unofficial seventh, like Team Seven member, even though he's part of his own team.
which is hilarious because in Shippuden he just fucking steals Team 8's teacher, and Team 8 just fucking ceases to be a thing during Shippuden, but that's besides the point. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, shit. I like Team 10 because they generally tend to have also their whole gimmick is just interesting because they're basically this team that's like eternally these three clans are just always together because their
Mhm.
powers work so well together. Um, they're interesting. I mean, I love Team Guy just because how can you not love Guy and Rock Lee?
Oh yeah, Guy Sensei. He's one of the best characters in the whole show.
And I mean, I love Team 8. It's funny, there's like one character from each team that I really enjoy. Like, obviously, like Team 10, you like Shikamaru. Team Guy, you like Rock Lee. Uh,
Mhm.
team Team 8, you kind of gravitate towards Hinata, and then Seven's obviously the main team. So
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, with the exception of the Hinata fight and the Naruto fight, I liked Neji a lot growing up. Especially once you get into like the Sasuke retrieval arc and stuff, when you start to really like see his development and stuff.
mm.
I liked Neji a lot during that period, and especially because I like the concept of the Byakugan. It's just a really cool. Magic eyes are not something that are gonna go away anytime soon in Naruto. Magic eyes
my
are
my
like the whole thing.
my favorite is the meme that the way eyes work in Naruto is they're literally just light bulbs. So you just twist out and put in.
Yeah, no kidding. Um, but yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna
don't know. It's
lie.
hard to. Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Uh, we interrupt this report for a sudden news and this joke was funnier in my head. Anyways, um,
Happens to me all the time. Don't feel bad.
I was gonna say like one of the things that I'm actually interested in your thoughts on this. You bring up the Byakugan in the manga. They literally are just like white eyes, so it looks like they just like have like white circles for eyes. Obviously, in the anime, that wouldn't work, so they made them like this kind of like purple, like light purple color. What
Yeah.
kind of interpretation do you prefer?
I like it when they're just like white, because that it kind of gives you that like subversion of expectation where generally, especially in animated form, or in any sort of cartooning in general, you see white eyes and you think blind.
Hmm.
Um, but the Byakugan is the exact opposite. It's actually eyesight to the point of X-ray vision, 360-degree vision. Like you can see everything within a radius around you.
And you have this one tiny blind spot right at the back of your head.
I think that was just like a development. I think that's something that you can work past with training and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, because I think that is something that he eventually fixes. And he's the only one that ever is really called attention to. Like you never see anything like that with any other Hyugas.
Yeah, because Hinata doesn't get her massive development until Shippuden, and well, particularly like the very end of Shippuden.
Hmm.
Because Hinata is the strongest Hyuga in by the end of the story, but like you don't learn much about her in regular Naruto, unfortunately.
Right. Let me just make sure my volume is turned down. There we go. Um, yeah, I don't know, it's hard to quantify honestly because there's so many different characters in this arc. And these are just like, the good guy characters, so to speak. Um, so I did just want to point out real quick that like in the show,
Mhm.
when they first meet Guy and Rock Lee and all them, and they see Guy and they'll like talk about him or talk to him, and they're like, "Oh my god, this old guy is going on about youth and all this other stuff." I'm just want to point out that we're older than he is.
Father Time is just coming for us again.
And it's just one of those things like when you're watching as a kid, you don't think of it that way.
Because we're older
Um,
than Kakashi now at that point, right?
mhm. Yeah, because Kakashi and Guy, I believe, are the same age. Um,
Also, Kakashi and Guy are my favorite dynamic in all of Naruto.
oh, for sure, for sure. Even
I
though you
mean,
don't really get to see it a lot of it until Shippuden, but
true.
yeah, like the whole concept of them being rivals, and when they first meet Guy, and he's like, "Oh, we fought 100 times, and I've won 51 times, and he's won 49 times." Like,
Which is great because Kakashi would win all of those if he cared, but he just doesn't care.
yeah, well, that's also the fact that like, he's like, "All right, let's do another contest, Kakashi. Like, what are we gonna do this time?" Rock paper scissors, I guess. Like, it's literally was one of them. Like, so it's like it's not like they're actually fighting each of these times. It's literally just like, I don't know. I guess we'll run to the store and back. Like, just
He
whatever
just
they happen to
he's
think of
just
at the
got to
time.
think of some bullshit because just to be like, all right, I'll appease him this time.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I will say, out of every character in the entire series, Kakashi is definitely the reason I liked watching the show because he is just such a fun character.
He was definitely the initial draw. If Kakashi wasn't the way he is, like as a character, I don't think as many people would have been drawn to the show at the beginning.
Well,
Because, as we mentioned
he's
before, Naruto and Sakura were incredibly annoying, and Sasuke was just stoic and moody. So it
he's
wasn't really a
just
whole lot to work with.
he Sasuke is like was like the original internet edge lord back in the day, where he's just so fucking edgy, it's not even funny.
Sasuke is the character that started it all when it comes to edgy anime characters. I'm not gonna say that there haven't been edgy anime characters before that, but Sasuke modernized and popularized it
That and the
to where
combination
we
of
are now.
the, I'd say that combined with Yuri Lowenthal's performance, because I love Yuri Lowenthal as an actor, but I forgot just how fucking like ridiculously over the top he was in fucking original Naruto.
Hmm. Well, it's like even like when I was talking earlier about how Sakura was going on about oh, Naruto's got no parents, this and that. He's all alone. And then you just see Sasuke brooding, looking off of this, it's going, alone, isolated. You have no idea how it feels. Like it's like, oh my god, like you really just bringing it at 11 Edge Lord right off the bat. Like,
I love
come
I
on, dude.
love I love how you were like this close to going full Batman right there.
But that's the way he is, though, and it's
I
so
know.
fucking over the top and ridiculous. But I mean, he does get better, but then he gets worse, and it's just, oh god.
He gets better, then he gets worse, then he gets better, then
And
he gets
I
worse.
loved Sasuke when I was a kid, like, but it's like looking at it now, and it's just like, oh my god, these fucking kids.
Sasuke is literally like the person where like that's like who you want to be as a kid, and then you grow up and you realize that was me as a kid.
Yep.
You grow up to become Kakashi and just hate everything, or just are indifferent to everything.
No, the older I get, the more and more I identify with Shikamaru.
Well, him too. Like they're Shikamaru a lot of the ways, yeah. Especially
Like
his modern and his modern version of himself.
mhm. Like I saw like a video meme a little bit ago, and it was just a scene, just a straight up scene from original Naruto, and it was Shikamaru wakes up, looks at the clock, it's like I don't know, like 5:59 or something like that, and then it ticks up to 6, and the alarm starts going off, and he's like, "Fuck, why did I even set an alarm if I was gonna wake up before it?" And now I have to sit here listening to it. And if it's just going to keep going unless I get up and turn it off, but I really don't want to get up. And it's just like that scene was just so like, I get it. I get it, dude.
Yeah. It's like that meme of like there's another meme that's really relatable of it's Kakashi waking up and he's like, "Oh no, I'm late for school." And it goes, "Oh wait, I'm an adult." And then it cuts to him going, "Oh no, I'm a teacher." And then he goes, "Oh right, I don't give a shit," and just goes back to sleep. It's like, yeah, I relate.
It's one of those, I don't know. I watched all 3 of the big 3 ultimately at this point. And Naruto was the one I identified with as a kid. And it's still the one I identify with now. It just, like, the characters just feel the most real in that show.
In
Out of those
hindsight,
3, at least.
yeah. In hindsight, rewatching it like now as an adult, I kind of see like I realize now that it is a much tighter written show than I initially thought, and you have to get through the early periods of annoyance, but like once you actually get the way once it picks up fast.
Mhm.
The only downside is we haven't really brought it up yet, but Naruto, especially Shippuden, but even original Naruto, is probably one of the most infamous cases of filler in anime.
Yes, I will say one of the reasons why I tend to kind of champion the first series over Shippuden is because it at least had the decency to save all the filler for after the canon stuff.
I mean, there was
Like
a few
like
exceptions here and there, like throughout, but
there's a
like for the
couple,
most,
yeah, a couple one shot episodes. There was like one 3 episode filler arc between I think the Tsunade arc and the Sasuke arc. But
mm,
aside from that, there really wasn't much, and that's something it definitely has going for it, especially when you compare it to its direct sequel. Um,
I think they had the benefit to it because the manga started in '99, but the anime didn't start till 2002. They had a couple years worth of stuff written, so they didn't
mhm,
have to they had enough to work with right off the bat, but of course, eventually they caught up.
yeah, and one thing I really liked was that like the way that the shows are portrayed, I suppose you could say, like the lens you look at original Naruto through versus Shippuden, um, like you're kind of seeing it through the perspective of the kids. Because
Mm.
in the first series, there is all this stuff going on in the background that will eventually come to a head in the follow up series. and you see pieces of it throughout the first series, but until you see the big picture, you don't really notice it.
Yes.
Like for instance, there's a scene where you see Kakashi at the memorial, and I think he was talking to Asuma about Sasuke, and just super like down low in passing, like Asuma's just like, "Is it for Obito?" And that's the only mention of Obito throughout the entire first series.
Mm.
But like, that is such a loaded statement when you know the whole story.
Yeah.
Like so like you can't even really fathom how important that one line is.
There, there is so much foreshadowing in this series. Like that's why this is a fun show to rewatch because you notice so many things that you missed the first time around.
Mm-hmm. And then like even like something as simple as, why is Orochimaru so obsessed with Sasuke specifically? It's because he tried to go after Itachi and fucking Itachi wrecked him with no effort.
Itachi
Like,
was Itachi was such a fun character when he first showed up
oh yeah,
because
for
you were
sure.
you were meant to hate him when he first showed up, and then as everybody knows, Shippuden explains what actually happened. Like one of my favorite things is like you. There's the meme where it's like you start the show hating Yukashi and I mean not Kakashi, hating Itachi, and then by the end of his storyline, you end up loving him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Itachi is, oh god, he's probably the best written character, like the best story for a character.
I I still can't get over when the one of the first times he appeared, the fight against him where who is a teammate's teacher?
Team 8,
I forget her name.
Kurenai.
When
Kurenai.
Kurenai tries to use Genjutsu on Itachi and it fails miserably.
Yeah, don't use Genjutsu on any Uchiha, let alone
One of the
that one.
strongest ones.
The guy whose specialty is Genjutsu, to the point where he created his own space time.
The fucking what's the Uchiha eye called again? It's
The Sharingan?
the Sharingans are literally just like the fuck you power of the series because they literally just pull shit out of their ass all the time.
For real. That's why I've always said, like, yes, I am a massive Dragon Ball fanboy. Everybody knows this about me. But if you ask me if you could have any one anime like superpower, what would it be? It's Sharingan every time. Even base level Sharingan. Like no Mangekyo, no Rinnegan, no none of that shit. Like just basic ass like first series Kakashi Sharingan. Like just the visual aspect of it, the process of visual information, being able to copy anything you see perfectly, like that alone is such a useful power.
The freaking Sharingan is one of my favorites too because it's like it is such a potent power that it can literally you use it too much and it fucking will blind you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's like the higher level. But yeah, that's a whole thing in itself.
Speaking
Um,
of Sharingan, like one of the biggest like reveals is because Kakashi famously has one eye covered by his headband at all times. What was your reaction when he took the thing off and you saw he had a Sharingan?
um, Honestly, it's hard for me to quantify because, as I said, the first episode I saw was the curse mark when he breaks the guy's arms, and Sasuke had his Sharingan at that point, so um, I was already aware of it.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't think I fully comprehended how important it was at the time because even when when he reveals it and Sasuke's like, "Oh, that's supposed to be only my clan that has that." Like, I don't know why I just couldn't really process that at that age. Um,
So I had seen that scene for the first time at a much older point, and I just remember being like so confused because I was like, I didn't understand that like you could just transplant eyes at will in this series.
Mhm.
So like when I saw that, I was like, what the? I'm like, how?
Ninja magic.
It gets obviously when you find out why he has the Sharingan later on, it's nuts. That's all I'll say.
I think Kakashi probably has the most tragic backstory in the whole series.
It's up there.
Like
He's
his
got
life
one of
sucks
them.
until he meets the kids.
It's
Yeah.
kind of funny how many characters in this series have terrible fucking lives.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
you
it's
think
kind of
about
a
it now,
consistent thing.
yeah, like Neji had a terrible life. Hinata's life kind of sucked for a while there.
Mhm.
Naruto's life really sucked. Sasuke's life kind of sucks.
Choji was just lonely.
Well, Team 10, honestly, Team 10 probably their powers are just interesting to me because of the way that they design them.
Hmm. For sure.
Shikamaru's power is still cool, just like shadow manipulation.
Yeah, I always liked that too. But I love how like I know this is technically Shippuden, but I love how when they're like explaining like the different like chakra types and stuff like that, like elements and all that other stuff. And Naruto's like, well, wait, how the hell does the shadow stuff work? And it's just like, we're not going to talk about that. Just literally just push that to the side.
It's like I
Forget
don't
about
want to
it.
explain
You're
it
not going to
right
use
now.
that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
a
so how did you feel about like Orochimaru's first introduction? Like when he first shows up and he's in his disguise and then eventually he reveals himself to be who he is, and like maybe you don't
he
really know fully the effect he's going to have on the series going forward, but he definitely has a staying introduction.
I found him creepy to begin with, so he was very effective right off the bat.
Hmm.
Um, I knew for a fact he was going to be more important than he was letting on to. Um, and he didn't. He kind of like had that air of like this guy is not going to be easy to get rid of.
That is the understatement of this show.
Yeah,
He is literally a cockroach. That should have been the animal he based himself off, really.
I
Like,
mean, even after he stops being a quote unquote threat, he's still around.
yeah. Um, yeah, because I don't know, he was so like I thought he was gonna be like a much more consistent, like I thought he was gonna be like the big bad. And if this first show, yes, he was the big bad.
Yeah,
But
it's
once you
funny
start
how
seeing the full scope of it, it's not even close.
it if it's funny how he kind of falls off as Shippuden goes on.
Mhm. Although as I get older, I start to understand his motivation a little bit more. He's just like, no,
He
I just want to live forever so I can learn all the things, experience all the things. It's just like I get it. I
he
get it, man.
he's in terms of villains to me, he's like one of the more interesting ones just because he's the only one that's really just in it for himself. He doesn't have a greater scope of
Mhm.
like a lot of the villains later on have.
Yeah.
Because Oshimaru's whole goal is pretty much just self-absorbed.
Yeah. He just wants to learn all the things. That's it.
Yes.
This is when education goes wrong.
This is what happens when you give someone way too much free time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Then he's
Um,
voiced by freaking Steve Bloom, which just makes it even better.
yeah, no kidding. And he really goes buck wild with that role too.
Yes, he does.
It's one of the few situations where like if you know, you know, but if you don't know, then you could easily go through it and not realize it's Steve Bloom.
Hmm. I mean, I guess we can talk about voice acting. Like this fucking voice cast in Shippuden, I mean, not Shippuden, just Naruto in general is fucking stacked.
Hmm.
Like, if you look up the IMDb page for Naruto, I'm not IMDb, the behind the voice actors like page for Naruto, you will recognize pretty much every voice actor from one place or another. Ironically, I think the least interesting voice in Naruto is probably Naruto himself.
Hmm.
Mally Flanagan, because I think this is like her only anime role.
And what's interesting is like this is at a point in time where a lot of the animes we were getting on Toonami were Funimation products,
Hmm.
and the Naruto is specifically one of those ones that isn't Funimation. In fact, there's only a handful of Funimation actors that play characters of any real importance, like Kiba being one of them.
Yeah, Kylie Bear.
And it's very few and far between in that series.
I mean, there's a few like freelancers who will go back and forth. Like Stephanie Sheh is she does work for both all the
Mm-hmm.
time. There's a
Vic
few
Mignogna
others.
was all over the place.
Well, yeah, Vic Mignogna tragically was everywhere.
Well, I meant like in Naruto specifically. He was a lot of characters.
He was, yeah. Thankfully,
Um,
most of those characters never are going to appear again, so we don't have to be disappointed. But
yeah, most of them died.
yes, they did.
A lot of people die in this show.
Yeah, don't. This is another show where you shouldn't get attached to anybody because main characters will die, and they don't
Yeah.
come back.
Well, sometimes they come back.
I mean, there's
No,
exceptions, but a lot of deaths are final.
but those kinds of Deus Ex Machinas also end up dying, and they stay dead. So,
Oh, I wasn't even thinking. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
um, so like going into like some of the later Chunin exam stuff. Um, well, first of all, when you were going through the first time, were you expecting a written test?
Because of the school arc at the start, I was kind of.
Because we just watched that I think last weekend, Cindy and I, and she literally was just like, seriously, a fucking paper test. Like, what the fuck? But then, like, as you go along, and you're like, oh, it's not actually about the test. It's about testing, like, how well you can like, covertly gather information. Like, and that totally makes sense for like a ninja test. Um, and then they go through the whole force of death thing, and I feel like after Orochimaru, the force of death becomes incredibly less interesting.
Yeah, once the big moment happens, it's kind of like, why are we still here?
And then like, they tried to give Sakura her big moment where she like cuts her hair and
Oh yeah, I forget she had long hair so often in the show.
yeah, because she just keeps it short after that.
Well, because that was another whole like Sasuke thing. Because it was like, I think Sasuke made a point that he liked long hair, which was actually a lie, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just like a rumor like that they just heard about and they just ran with. I don't think Sasuke ever really gave a shit about girls.
No, like, because that's one of those foreshadowy things where like you notice how like all the girls in the class have long hair that are obsessed with Sasuke, except for Hinata.
Wait, well, she's not obsessed with Sasuke. So.
Exactly. So she's the one with the short hair, which which is funny because the second that whole thing ends, she grows her hair out.
Mm-hmm.
Just a funny little like little thing I noticed there.
Yeah. So yeah, we go into like the more like tournament style.
Going back though to the Sakura cutting her hair thing, I get the whole symbolism of that scene where it's like the important haircut trope. Um, I have to point out though that her arm was fully free motion and she had a knife. He could have stabbed that person so many different ways.
Yeah, and then she resorts to biting,
Yeah,
which is
I know.
like, all right, so you're literally just an annoyance at this point. You're not going to do anything by doing that.
That's a scene where it's like this is a really awesome scene until you actually tear it apart and realize what the fuck was wrong with her.
And she's using like basic like kindergarten ninja techniques trying to fight these guys, and it's like, what have you been learning this whole time? Little Miss Smarty Pants over here, and she's using basic ass shit.
Yeah. Like, that scene bothered the fuck out of me like years later because I'm just like, she has a knife, stab her, like for the
Yeah,
love of God.
for
Uh,
real. Even if you want to do the whole like hair cutting thing, you cut the hair, and since she was pulling on it, that like cutting the hair throws her off her balance. Spin around and stab her in the chest. Like,
the worst part is she wasn't even like guarding herself. She was wide open everywhere. It was like, oh my God, Sakura.
yeah, and it was kind of like the same thing with the other guy when she did like the whole substitution thing. Um, like the bait and switch of like she substitutes the first couple times, and then the third time she acts like she's going to, but then she actually takes the hit just so she can get a hit on him. But then she stabs him in the arm.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna go for anywhere a little bit more fatal.
No,
I don't know.
it's a Sakura we're talking about. She doesn't know what fatal means.
Little Miss Smarty Pants doesn't know how to aim a knife. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of reasons to dislike Sakura, and
She's
even when
such
they're
she's such a poorly written character. That's like which is sad because it's coming from a series that's full of well-written characters.
well, that's the thing is Kishimoto is really bad at writing compelling females.
When he's trying to, because like somehow like Hinata is the most compelling female in the entire series, and she was like the afterthought, to be honest.
Yeah, and she was kind of also a stereotype in a lot of ways.
True. I mean, she gets a lot better
But
in Shippuden, but
well, yeah, she has development, and yeah, Sakura does too. But it takes an entire series to get to that point.
and the damage was so done by that point that like people didn't even care, honestly.
And then you got like he's like Kishimoto says that his favorite girl is 1010, but literally gives her nothing.
1010 is so like insignificant that I forget she's there half the time.
Yeah, she's the obligatory girl of Rock Lee's team.
Like whenever she appears in Baruto, I'm always like, "Oh right, you,
Yeah,
you're a thing."
she just has a weapon shop where she just makes all the weapons, and that's just kind of like her thing. Which I mean, it's totally fine. I mean, we need shopkeepers and stuff in Ninja World too, but it's like again, Kishimoto, you said she's your favorite. What the fuck are you doing? If she's your favorite, then you should be giving her more to do.
I just don't think. I think he says that just because he doesn't want to admit he fucked up the Sakura stuff so badly.
Yeah.
Isn't like
Um.
Sakura based off his wife too, or something like that? Or am I thinking of something
Uh.
else? A different artist?
I. I. You might be thinking of One Piece. 'Cause I think that's supposed to be. I think I heard the same thing about Nami.
Maybe
I
I
could
don't
be
know.
wrong though. I'm not 100% sure.
I might be thinking of a different show because I know a bunch of creators do that.
Because I feel like I heard the same thing about One Piece, and that's why so many girls are just Nami clones. Because like that's like his type, and that's what his wife looks like, I guess.
Well, I mean, to be fair, most of the females in One Piece look very similar.
Yeah, especially in black and white.
Well, they all have like one face and one body type. So
Yeah, extremely thin waist, very long legs. That's One Piece in a nutshell.
giant boobs. That's Kishimoto's thing. I mean, not Kishimoto. That's Oda's thing.
Oda, yeah, Oda's definitely a boob guy.
Kishimoto's more of a
Um,
butt guy. You can tell by
I don't
Sakura
know.
the amount.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
That's
I feel like
another.
it's hard to tell with Kishimoto because he did the whole sexy jutsu thing, and like
Oh, we
he
haven't
kind of
even
doesn't
talked about. We haven't talked about that yet.
doesn't leave a whole lot to the imagination, regardless of what you're into.
True.
Um,
Yeah, sexy jutsu. What was your first reaction to that?
uh, holy shit, naked lady. I was
That was
12.
that for. Well, I was 11, and I remember seeing it and immediately looking like to see where my parents were because I was like, "Uh oh."
Well, luckily, the first time I watched, like when I was really getting into art, like a lot of those marathons I remember happened over the weekend, and I was at my dad's house on the weekends, so less of an issue for me. Uh,
True.
so And the harem jutsu was like, Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of questionable things in Naruto.
And I love the way that comes back around way later. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's perfect. Perfect.
My favorite Sakura quote in the entire series.
Yeah, it's like, I can't believe that worked.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, so we move a little bit more into like the tournament stuff, like the more tournament structured part of the tuning exam. So they get to the force of death and they're like, shit, we have way more people for this than we thought we were going to that made it through. We got to thin this out a little bit. So they have a little like prelim tournament. Just one round, just to cut the number in half. Obviously there's the fight that everybody knows is the best one. Aside from that one, are there any in particular that you liked over the others?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember most of them. So
But we had I think Sasuke fought first and he fought the chakra sucking dude. That's where he did the whole like Lion's Barrage thing, which was a really like epic reveal for a very mundane attack.
yeah.
And you could say a similar thing about Naruto's big thing in his fight against Kiba. We had
Yeah.
Neji Hinata, Choji versus the weird mask sound guy.
Neji
We had
Hinata's one I
Shikamaru versus Bell
remember.
Lady. Huh?
Oh yeah. I'm just like the only ones I really remember are like Naruto, Kiba, and Hinata, Neji, just because they had like emotional moments.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this little prelim thing was mostly there just to kind of showcase some of the different powers.
Yeah.
Especially since at that point we hadn't seen very many of them do much, except for like little bits and pieces. And like I think like yeah, it was to like show like some of our main characters, but I think the biggest purpose of it was to show what the villains could do. Because we at that point we hadn't really seen anything from like the Sand People. We've seen this some of the sound stuff,
Hmm.
like the Sound Village guys, but to a lesser degree
I
than
forget.
you
Was
would
this
maybe
the
hope.
same? Was this the same point where like Sakura Ino happened, or was that a different fight?
Yes, yeah, because
I,
they fought to a draw, so they both got knocked out.
their whole thing during early Naruto was so fucking annoying.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that from that point on, where they kind of just like wave it away, and it's like, okay, like we're still rivals, quote unquote, but we're cool. We'll still go out and have lunch or whatever. Like,
Well, especially when like way later on you get the actual backstory of what happened between them, and it's like this is so dumb.
it really is. Like they have the whole stupid flashback. Oh, we're doing flower arranging today. Like, what the fuck? This is a goddamn ninja school. Fuck your flowers. I want to learn how to stab. Maybe if they had spent less time on flowers and more time on knife work, maybe she would have known how to fucking stab someone.
Yeah. Well, especially
I'm
because
sorry.
later on,
I get really worked up over that shit.
I know. Well, to me too, it's like how the whole reason that those two hate each other is because they both like the same boy. And it's like, really? Like,
Yeah,
this
it's
shit.
really. And it was like they were like 6.
They were 6, and Ino was such a bitch about it. Like,
Yeah. I don't
Ino's
know.
a
It's
character
just
that grows on you the farther the thing goes, but she was awful in the beginning too. I'm not gonna lie.
oh for sure. Um. So yeah. I guess this is a good time to drop the weights, so to speak, because that was let's be real. That was the moment that like cemented Naruto as like a killer action show. Like yeah, we had some good fights, like some cool show power showcases and stuff, but Rock Lee versus Gara was the jumping off point for most people. Like that is the fight generally people point to and say this is like peak shonen
Oh, you mean
battle.
you mean jumping on point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
honestly, yeah, because that fight goes so long, and so it's like it's just mental too, because it comes from one character that we barely know anything about at this point, and another character who was kind of a joke character for like the first half of the series.
but ends up being like one of the deeper characters. Like the whole
Bizarrely,
concept of being a ninja I mean, obviously, like, we kind of have that with Naruto himself, but like the whole concept of like a ninja with literally no talent, like cannot use chakra, period. Like,
mm,
which is like far and away beyond Naruto. And of course, you also got to figure at this point in the story, Rock Lee became a Genin a year ago.
yeah,
So he went from literally no name, can't do shit, to one of the strongest kids in the entire village, if not the strongest at this point in time,
strictly
in a
off of
year.
willpower, basically.
Yeah, from very extreme training for a year. He got to the point of being able to go toe to toe with the main villain of this arc.
Yeah, I always forget Gara was a villain at first.
Yeah, what they put a real focus on it too. It's like once we really start getting into like his backstory, like that's rough.
Yeah, his was pretty bad too. Like, Jesus Christ, everyone's miserable in this series.
So I have to. I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but I have to ask. Once they did the big reveal about Gara and his whole deal about how he's like Naruto, um, did you see it as just like, oh, this is just another big magic monster that they sealed away, or did you say, oh, Naruto's got the 9 tails, Gara's got the 1 tail?
Yeah, I kind of connected the dots. There's probably more of these things.
Yeah, because like that was one of those things that I always kind of like connected with, and then like later on when you realize like the whole backstory with all these tailed beasts, you'd think Shukaku would have had a little bit bigger of a reaction um the toad turned into the 9 tails.
Mm.
You know, it just I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where you like all the foreshadowing and the little like pieces that they put throughout the first show generally tend to add up, but then sometimes it's just like, why is this here? Like, why wouldn't this make more of an impact? You know, or even things like when Jiraiya first meets Naruto, or when
Mm.
Kakashi first meets Naruto, for that matter. Like they obviously knew his parents like very intimately.
Isn't there a whole thing where it's like the third Hokage was like deliberately like hiding stuff like that?
Um, well, I mean, he was deliberately hiding things from Naruto, yeah, but like, even I mean, this is anime where we get lots of inner monologues, and
True.
like Kakashi doesn't even like uh call attention to the fact that Naruto is the Nine Tails host until the chakra starts leaking out while he's fighting Haku. So like
True.
that doesn't even dawn on him until then. And then you got Jiraiya, who is his literal godfather, who's like, "Nah, fuck you, kid. I'm not training you.
I mean,
Like,
I
get
like
away from
Jiraiya,
me.
but he
I got ladies to spy on."
I like Jiraiya as a character, but he is kind of an asshole.
Especially right at the beginning. Like,
I mean, even
as
at
he
the end,
goes
he
on,
he has his great moments, but he is kind of an asshole his entire time as a character.
yeah, he spent all of Naruto's savings on hookers.
Yep.
That's the thing that happened. Hookers and booze.
Yep.
And the one popsicle that they shared, which
And they say
became very symbolic later.
Goku's a deadbeat.
Now, I again, I know we're not supposed to be touching on Shippuden that much, but I still say that Goku is a way better father than Minato. I don't know who the hell keeps saying that Minato's a good dad. I keep seeing it on the internet. Makes no fucking sense. Dude had the choice to stay alive and be a dad or to die. He chose to die.
Yep.
He said, "I can't replace his mother." So I'm gonna deprive him of a dad too. Like, what the fuck, dude? This is Ninja King? Like, come on.
Kishimoto's a good writer, but he also there's a lot of shit in this series that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. I say I love Naruto, but there are some things that just make me want to shake my fists.
Yeah, which is hilarious because then you get to Baruto and it's like Baruto doesn't realize how good he has it.
And none of the kids at that point in the series do.
True, but
Um,
none of them are like as resentful as Baruto is.
yeah, that's true. He gets over it pretty quick though.
Oh, he does as the series goes on, but my god, at the start.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But yeah, the I know we got sidetracked, but the Gara Rock Lee fight is insane. Like that was the moment when they really cranked up the animation budget and really showcased what they could do. And instead of playing around a lot more with CGI, I feel like at that point.
That was one that Toonami hyped the fuck out of when it was
Oh,
coming up.
with good reason too. That's still like that's like the main fight I point to when people
I
say like
still
what was one of the best anime fights of all time, Gara versus Rock Lee. Like
I always
big
remember
time.
too, because the way they advertised it was so fucking dumb. They were like, "We have Rock Lee, who's all guts, versus Gara, who's all sand," and it's like,
All sand.
it's like okay, like
Yes, those two things are in fact opposites: guts and sand.
I did not understand the way that they like. I'm like, okay,
Some of the
sure.
old Tsunami promos are just silly.
Most of the Naruto
Um,
ones were very stupid.
yeah. But yeah, we went through that whole thing, and then we get through Naruto's training arc with Jiraiya, which God, if you thought Master Roshi was bad.
See, Master Roshi is so extreme that it's like a joke. Jiraiya, it feels realistic to the point where it's kind of disturbing.
At least Master Roshi acknowledges like how fucked up he can be. Jiraiya is like, oh, don't call me a perv, don't call me a perv. It's like, but you are. You're like the perv. Like,
See,
what are you talking about?
Roshi, the difference
You
is
write porn
Roshi,
books.
yeah. The difference is Roshi tends to fail all the time. Jiraiya doesn't, and that makes it kind of weird.
Yeah, Jiraiya's good at peeping.
The amount of images of Jiraiya just with a woman over his shoulder that looks unconscious is kind of disturbing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a little distressing. Um,
Roshi's just kind of a goofball.
but yeah, at this point, Naruto learns how to summon toads, which is very underwhelming at the time.
So I will say though, going just the one final thing of the Roshi thing, Jiraiya legit peeps at them in like the bathhouse. Roshi just watches like the aerobics channel. Like
Well, there was that one episode where he was using Bulma's Shrinky Dink watch so that he could go into the bathroom and watch her poop.
I forgot that was the thing.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. And then he
Okay,
fell in the
George.
toilet and got flushed.
I take back what I said.
Uh.
Anyway.
um,
Anyways,
so yeah, Naruto learns how to summon toads. Fun stuff. But the main thing that he learned throughout the whole thing was how to tap into the nine tails chakra at will. Because he basically like kind of formed an unofficial pact with the nine tails, where it's like, if I die, you die, bro. So like, hook it up. Basically, I think his exact words: "I'm charging you rent, so pay up." Like,
yeah, like it's interesting to me, like the whole that's one of probably the most interesting dynamics in the entire series is Naruto and at the time the Nine Tails, because we didn't know his name yet. But their relationship throughout the entire series is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a relationship that develops over time.
It takes an entire 2 series, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But that was a big turning point for him because that's the point where like he already just based on his genes already had a big pool of chakra to pull from that was all his. Now he's got the nine tails to pull from, which is a whole nother league of power to pull from. Um, which ends up being like what wins him most of his fights.
Hmm.
Which is ironic because they go through this whole like arc of him learning how to use it and master it, only for the next series to come around and then be like, yeah, don't use that anymore. Just don't ever. In fact, we're
Yeah.
gonna put this guy on your team to prevent you from ever doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Ugh.
but yeah, so we get the finals, and Naruto has his big, I guess, fight with Destiny when he fights Neji, like the whole um you can rise and overcome what the cards that you're dealt in life thing, which was a really big thing at the time, especially in early Naruto, the whole concept of the underdog and rising beyond what people expect of you.
We had also, this is where we kind of figure out the whole Hyuga backstory, right?
Yes.
Where Neji is essentially a fucking slave despite being like related to like the head of the clan, like bullshit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like his dad and the current head are twins, or were twins I should say. And it was like
Yeah.
this whole stupid thing where it's just like, oh, I ended up with this brand on my forehead because my dad was born 2 minutes later than his brother. Like, which is a really like, I don't I feel like there has to be some sort of parallel there to something in real life with um Japanese culture. Like there had to be like a thing, because it's just like the way it's written, it just feels too real for it not to be.
Mm.
Especially because the Hyuga clan is very much like a traditional like Japanese type of aesthetic to them.
Yes. It's
Okay,
also
in a way
too,
that a
it's
lot of other characters don't.
the brands on the forehead are, I find really disturbing too, because the whole idea is that they prevent the eyes from being stolen once the Hyuga dies.
Yeah,
But they're also, they can use them to control them, which is just fucked up on a lot of levels.
yeah. Basically, it's like you could just activate like this, just at the spur of a moment, just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna just stir your brains up a little bit, real quick. Like,
Yeah, it's really fucked up. It's one of those things that like I'm glad like you find out later was kind of phased out for
mhm,
future generations, but at the same time, it's like, damn, there's a reason why like this family's kind of fucked up.
no kidding. So we go from that to Shikamaru's fight, which he didn't even want to. He was going to give up. He was just going to bow out before the fight even started. Um, but was it Naruto that pushed him out? I think it was Naruto.
I think so.
Just
Well,
kind
I
of
mean,
shoved him into the arena.
people always say like that Naruto has the bromance with Sasuke, but in reality, I think he has the bromance with Shikamaru more than anybody.
Oh, for sure. Like that was definitely a point I was going to bring up, is that like they make a huge deal about Naruto and Sasuke being like best friends, being brothers, like all that other stuff. But like, let's be real. Like Shikamaru is Naruto's best friend. Like they are best friends. There's a reason why Boruto and Shikadai are like best friends. Like it's, yeah, that's just a thing, and I love that. I love that Naruto has that kind of friend to back him up.
Yeah.
Um,
It is funny too, though, the whole running joke that the two laziest kids in the class are the ones that are running the village now.
yeah, right. It's pretty great. Um, so yeah, there's that whole fight, which really is like the first time that it really showcases like, oh yeah, Shikamaru is like outrageously smart.
Yeah.
Um, but he just doesn't like to apply himself, which as a child in middle school, I definitely identified with.
Also, I can we bring up like we haven't mentioned it yet, but the forehead protectors, like headbands, no, like how like none of them wear them, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think from a design aspect. Like you don't want them all to look exactly the same.
I know. I love the fact that like it's this whole like symbolic thing, and then like so all of them on team 7 wear them normally, but then you get to team 8 where like Hinata wears it as a fucking necklace. Um, Shikamaru wears it as an armband. Ino wears it as a belt, and then like Choji's got his own custom one out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's got his head underwear.
Yeah, basically. Um, I just found shit like that kind of funny. It's like headband, belt. Like sure, that makes
It's about
sense.
right. It's about right. And then we get to like the main event of Sasuke versus Gaara. It's the one that uh, everyone who is there to watch is there for. Um, yeah, it was wild, especially once like you learn how like different like chakra elements relate to each other, and you don't learn that until way the fuck later. Like we're talking like mid Shippuden is when you
Mm,
learn how like different elements react to each other. But you see hints of it throughout the series. This being part of it because um, Kakashi goes out of his way to teach Sasuke the Chidori specifically because it works well against Earth style, which obviously
mm.
sand. Um, and this is where like the big attack on the village happens, and
The
um,
first of many attacks on the village.
yeah, no kidding. And this is like the first like big um the first big like triumph for Naruto. The first big like underdog victory
Mm,
is when he fights Gaara and comes out on when he's able to beat somebody that Sasuke couldn't. Like that was like the big moment for him. For him and for Sasuke. Those are big character defining moments for both of them. Because that gave Naruto confidence. It gave him it gave him like motivation, like I worked this hard, I did all this training. These are the fruits of my labors.
mm.
But then you got Sasuke, who is like, I'm the prodigy. I'm the guy who's supposed to be, taking these guys down. I even had the tools that are specifically like effective against this guy, and I lost, and Naruto won. And that was a big character moment for Sasuke because that was when he started really having doubts about himself,
Yeah.
which ultimately led him to the dark side.
Mm. And
Um,
he had the curse mark by this point, right?
yeah, he got it in the Forest of Death. So
Yeah.
that was kind of why he just like wasn't around after that fight in the preliminaries because
Mm,
Kakashi was training him and trying to help him get a handle of it all.
right.
Um, so I don't know. Do you think this should be a two-parter?
Um, I mean, how much more of this do we? How much more of original Naruto is left?
Well, we still have the Tsunade arc and the Sasuke arc.
Mm. Yeah, it is getting kind of late. Yeah, maybe we should cut this up into multiple parts.
Yeah, because even the first show is pretty long.
That's
The
for
second
sure.
show is significantly longer.
Yeah, although you can cut like a good like third of it out because it's all pointless.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, let's cut it off here for now. We'll cover the last two arcs in the next one.
I do want to bring up one thing though. Like, we can we talk about the filler episode where they like follow Kakashi around because they want to find out what's under his mask.
I love that episode. That's up there for me with like one-shot filler episodes with the Goku getting his license episode.
Yeah. I just love the
For
idea
sure.
of like the giant lips or like the buck teeth.
Yeah. And then like every time friggin' like somebody else sees his face and they just get like the big hearts in their eyes, like even the ramen guy.
Yeah. I love too, like whenever he eats, you know, it's always like off screen and then like it cuts back to him and he already has the mask back up and you don't see it.
Eats an entire bowl of ramen in like 2 seconds flat.
Yeah. It's
It's outrageous.
such a goofy character design, but hey, it's memorable.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody, even if you didn't watch Naruto, you know who Kakashi is. He's just such a recognizable character.
So many Kakashi cosplayers during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So
kidding.
many. But yeah, so we'll probably do this as a two-parter. Do you want to do that next week, or we want to take a break and come back to it?
We'll talk that over. If we come up with something else we want to do, because it wouldn't be a bad idea to break it up, especially since we just did a Yu-Gi-Oh two-parter.
Yeah.
So if we can come up with another idea, we'll do that. If not, we'll just fall back on this.
Okay. You remember we originally thought we were going to do all of Naruto in one go?
Yeah, well.
I mean, we did Dragon Ball all in one go, but that was a almost 4-hour episode, so.
And we barely touched on the specifics. We were kind of going a little bit more into detail in this, and even that, not nearly as deep as we could have.
Yeah. That is true. But yeah, so we'll definitely revisit this in the future. Not sure when exactly, but we'll get to it at some point. But
for sure.
Anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms. You can also find the episodes on YouTube with both audio and video editions. And if you'd like, you can find all of our links at linktree/The Barber Who Games. Or you could join the GNC Podcast Network Discord server to find all things GNC, 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, talk gaming, anime, or just general nonsense. And with that, everybody, we will see you all later.
Have a good one.